All right. Hello, everyone. Highlander here from MTG Cardsmith doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review for our friend Commando, new to the channel. This is the second card we're reviewing from him. We've got a Planeswalker. So let's see what we got going on here. Kavdean, Ghastly Baron. And he is a Rakdos guy. He's got some coins, and he's holding a heart, and he's got like a robot arm. Cool art. I like the art a lot. Okay. Kavdean. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. All right, +1. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards. Create a blood token for each creature card, for each creature discarded this way. I should say for each creature card discarded this way. Okay. This is a very strong effect. Very, very strong effect. You're going up a card. Not only are you going up a card, you're also gaining blood tokens. Most of the time. I would say like 90% of the time probably, because you get to choose what to discard. If you have creatures in your deck, then you're likely to discard them. All right. Exile X creatures from your graveyard, then create X treasure tokens. Interesting. Okay. You get an emblem with, you may cast spells from your graveyard using only mana produced by treasures. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, so there's some interesting things going on here. Okay, so let's just take this from the top. I think this ability is probably a little too good for a plus. Again, this guy's 4 mana, right? So there are some planeswalkers that go up in they go up cards for a plus effect, like Teferi, Hero of Dominaria is an example, but that one costs 5, and it's also an extremely powerful planeswalker, and also very unfun to play against. This is actually I think arguably better than Teferi's +1. Or Teferi's is a +1, right? Let's see. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Yeah, it's +1. So arguably better. Now Teferi, yeah, you get to untap 2 lands, which is really good with counter spells. Here though, you are filling your graveyard, and you're also gaining additional value from your blood tokens. So this is much more value than drawing a card. And this is on this is on a 4 mana planeswalker, right? So I think that this should probably be a minus effect. So yeah, that's that ability. Now, second ability, exile X creatures from your graveyard, then create X treasure tokens. That's neat. I mean, I like. It's an interesting idea. So I guess he's selling the bodies. Is that the idea? Is he selling that bird? And then minus. Okay, so this is kind of neat. This one actually feels a little bit. This one feels about right in power level, I think. I mean, the thing is, this is a lot worse than this. In general, I mean, yeah, sometimes you can you can play this guy turbo something out. Play this guy make 3 treasures or whatever. But overall, I think this +1 is a lot stronger. So we'll get back to that. But yeah, the costs here I don't think quite match up. -7, you get an emblem with, you may cast spells from your graveyard using only mana produced by treasures. All right, this is a cool emblem. I like this emblem a lot. The issue here is it kind of non-bows with this ability here. Like, this lets you make treasures, but you have to actually exile creatures, which is kind of what you want to be casting from this emblem. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a non-bow here. Now this is an ultimate, and generally I don't tend to rate planeswalkers by their ultimates, but the fact that this doesn't work particularly well with your this ability here makes me kind of not like this very much. So overall, the idea here is very cool. I would probably do a couple... I would probably do a little rearranging to make this card... you know... Okay, if this were my card, here's what I would do. I would probably take this middle ability, make this a +1, and just say, like... create a treasure token. Maybe. It doesn't have the same flavor, unfortunately. You know, I know you kind of want, you know, you want him to be able to like sell bodies. So maybe what you do is you make it a +1 and you say like exile target creature from a graveyard. So you can choose your opponent's graveyards as well as your own, and then create a treasure token. So like +1, exile a creature card from a graveyard, create a treasure token. You could even maybe make that a +2. And then I would probably make this one a -. Because this is just a very high value ability. Like, you're seeing 3 new cards, right? And then either you're discarding 2 cards that are irrelevant, meaning you're like getting close. I mean, okay, I think this is arguably better than Jace the Mind Sculptor, and his is a 0, right? So brainstorm, draw 3 cards, put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library, right? Now, the reason that is so powerful is because if you combine that with shuffling effects, you get to essentially draw 3 new cards, and like, yes, you're only going up 1 card in raw numbers, but you're basically drawing 3 cards and getting rid of your 2 worst cards, which is super powerful. Very powerful selection, right? This guy does that without the necessity of playing shuffle effects. He just straight up does that, right? He just sees 3 new cards and then discards his 2 worst cards. And if you happen to discard creature cards, you get even more value because you get blood tokens. So you're going to just like turbo through your deck with this guy. And not only that, but there's a lot of decks that want things in their graveyards. I mean, this guy included, but like, you know, reanimation decks. I mean, drawing 3, discarding 2 in a reanimation deck is like really good. Really good. So I would probably... Honestly, if this were my card, I would probably make this just say draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards. And make this like a -2 or something like that. I think that would maybe be a little bit more fair. And once you've got... So let me try make my version. So Kavdean, Ghastly, Baron. I mean, you can also, of course, affect the cost of this guy. That's sort of another way you can make this card a little more fair. But let's just stick with the 4 mana for now. So let's do like +2, +1, +2, +1. I don't actually know. Let's just go with +2 for now. So +2, exile up to 1 card, 1 creature card from a graveyard. I should probably target A. So put 1 target creature card from a graveyard. Create a treasure token. Now you could say, if you do create a treasure token, if you really want to be flavor wise, but I think this one will play a little bit better. Like, you'll exile... Well, not necessarily. Yeah, I guess you probably do have to, if you do create a treasure token. I think this version's actually better, because then the discarding creature, you're still incentivized to discard creatures, in this case. So exile up to 1 target creature card from a graveyard if you do create a treasure token. How about this? Exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If a creature card is exiled this way, comma, create a treasure token. There we go. So this gives him just a little bit extra utility. He can exile anything from a graveyard. If it happens to be a creature, you get to sell it for cash, right? And this works nicely with his emblem. Oh wait, no, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. It doesn't at all. All right, so and then this, I think this one would be a -2. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards. And then -7, you get an emblem with. You may cast spells from your graveyard using... You may cast spells from your graveyard using only mana produced by treasure. So that might not be the correct wording, but I think it's good enough for now. And we'll give them like starting loyalty, like 3 probably. Something like that. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because you still kind of have the issue of this kind of non-bows with this. I mean, technically you can exile your opponent's cards, but you know, if your opponent doesn't have one and you really want a treasure, then you kind of need to exile your own creatures. But at least it's better this way. I mean, one thing you could do here is you could maybe make that a -1. I don't know. I'm not sure about the numbers. You'd have to playtest them. But I guess one thing you could do is you could change this to draw 3 cards, then exile 2 cards from your hand. And then this says like you get an emblem with you may cast spells exiled by Kavdean, or you know, whatever the wording would be, using only mana produced by treasures. So that way, like, you're incentivized to exile you know, well, I guess in that case, I mean, that doesn't quite work either, right? Because like, if you exile 2 cards here, then it works with this, but it doesn't quite work with this as well. But anyway, just food for thought. You could kind of go in that direction. You could maybe still keep this as a discard. You know, you could keep this as an exile, and then this cast things from exile. Who knows? But I think you know, it's your decision. But I think you get what I'm saying here is that it doesn't quite combo itself. Sorry, my dog. 1 minute. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so what do I rate this card? With the way this card currently is, I'm gonna rate this one a 5 out of 10. I think there's let's go with a 6 out of 10. I think the idea here is quite cool, right? Like the idea of this kind of dude who like sells bodies or organs or whatever for money. The idea of this emblem is pretty cool. Like, you can cast spells from your graveyard using only mana produced by treasures. I like that. But just to recap, you know, the abilities don't quite work very well with each other. And this ability is, I think, way too powerful for a +1. For at least for this cost. So there's also a few. I think I saw a couple. Yeah, there's like 2 grammatical issues. This T shouldn't be capitalized because it's a comma, not a period. And then I think this Y needs to be capitalized here for the U. So minor, but you know, they matter. So going with the 6 out of 10 for Kavdean. I think this one has a lot of potential. It's a really cool idea, but I think there's a few execution issues here. Mostly balance, I think, and again, the way the abilities work with each other. So That's my review for Kavdean, Ghastly Baron. Thank you guys for watching.